In this lesson, we're going to look at percentage problems where you have to work backwards. Now, what do we mean by working backwards? Well, let's look at this idea to see. So a man receives a 10% pay rise. His new weekly pay becomes £550. What was the original pay? What did he have before? Which is where we have to get back to. So there's a technique to do this question, and once you learn the technique, it's quite easy to do. But I'm going to show you the way quite a lot of people think they do it, and it's the wrong way to do it. That is to get 10% of the new pay and then do a takeaway sum. So 10% of £550, for example, is £55 because you just divide by 10. And then if you take the £55 away, you get £495. That was his original pay. The problem with this is that really, if you took £495 and got a 10% pay rise, then 10% of that, if you divide that by 10, is £49.50. And if you add on £49.50 to £495, you don't get £550. The thing that's went wrong here is the 10% has been taken of the £550 instead of the original pay. That's 10% of the new pay, which is not really what happened, to get a 10% pay rise in his initial pay. Okay, so how do you do this then? So the same problem, a man receives 10% pay rise, his new weekly pay becomes £550. What was the original pay? Well, the way to think of this is, if he gets a 10% increase, what he's getting now comparatively to his original pay is 110%. So his pay for the £550 is worth 110%, and we set that out like this. 110% is 550. Now the idea is to get back to what 100% was. So if we can work out what 1% is first, then we can get what 100% is by timesing this answer by 100. So how do you get 1%? If you know 110% is this, well, if you divide that by 110, you'll get 1%. Split it into 110 parts, each one being a percent. That gives you £5. And if 1% is equal to £5, then 5 100s make £500. Now to test this out, if you get £500 and you take 10% of that, that's £50. And if you add on £50 to this, you get the new pay, which is £550. It's really a proportion question. It's very similar to this idea here. If you know the cost of 3 jars and you're asked for the cost of 2, the easiest thing to do is get down to 1 jar and then double it. So 3 jars is 525, so if we divide that by 3 you get 1 jar, similar to getting 1% here, divided by 110. And then to get 2 jars you times that by 2. Again, to get 100% you times this answer here, £5 by 100.